Today we uncover the shocking truth about modern UK butter. This isn't what your nan spread on her toast in 1975. Back then, we never put butter in the fridge. Instead, it was just a simple butter dish with a lid, sitting in the larder. Cool, not cold. The butter was always soft, always ready, always spreadable. Proper butter. No oils, no engineering, no petroleum-extracted rapeseed oil processed with chemical solvents. Just cream and salt doing what they've done for centuries. That's gone now. What you're buying today isn't what your grandmother bought. Britain's most trusted butter brands have been quietly replaced with industrial oil blends, experimental cattle feed additives, and corporate cost-cutting masked as innovation. One premium brand caught wrapping its product in forever chemicals that don't break down in your body. Another diluted its recipe from 85% real butter down to just 64% over 10 years whilst charging you the same price. Some contain Bovaer, a methane-reducing feed additive that sparked consumer boycotts after reports of cattle health issues. Others use palm oil linked to rainforest destruction, where 80% of orangutan habitat has been wiped out in 20 years. Beta-carotene, artificial colouring, hidden behind no artificial colours claims. Vegetable oil blends sold as butter at butter prices. And the Food Standards Agency, meant to protect you, has set minimum legal standards then walked away. You're on your own. Somewhere between the larder and the fridge, we lost real butter. The food industry convinced us we needed spreadable versions, that cold storage was modern and hygienic, that blocks of butter were inconvenient and old-fashioned. Then they sold us the solution, butter blended with cheap vegetable oils at premium prices. We didn't need a solution, we needed them to stop refrigerating something that never required it in the first place. Our grandparents knew this, their mothers knew this. Butter in a dish, in the pantry, spreadable whenever you wanted it. We've spent weeks investigating every major butter brand sold in UK supermarkets. We've tracked corporate ownership webs, where 4 massive conglomerates control what you think are independent British brands. We've analysed recent scandals, quiet formula changes, pricing manipulation, and Bovaer trials that shattered consumer trust. What we found is systematic betrayal dressed up as innovation. So here's what's happening. We're counting down 8 butter products you need to avoid, not because they're illegal, but because they're not what they claim to be. Then I'll show you 7 brands that still make real butter the traditional way. Pure cream, maybe salt, nothing else. But first, I need your help. The food industry banks on silence. They reformulate quietly, hoping you won't notice. The only way this changes is if enough people know what's actually happening. So if this video makes you check your fridge, if it changes what you buy tomorrow, hit that hype button right now. Not just like hype. That tells YouTube this matters to people. It pushes this to everyone who deserves to know the truth. It creates pressure on these companies to stop degrading their products whilst charging premium prices. This is about whether we accept industrial cost-cutting or demand real food. Your hype makes that statement. Drop a comment telling me which brand shocked you most. Share this with anyone who buys butter. When enough of us refuse to accept oil blends at butter prices, these corporations will have no choice but to give us real butter again. Let's expose what they've been hiding. Number 8. Anchor. Anchor built its reputation on New Zealand heritage, pure cream, and over a century of consumer trust. Then they traded all of that for convenience and profit. Anchor Spreadable in the UK is 50% butter, 29% rapeseed oil, water and salt. Only half real dairy. And here's the scandal that shows exactly how far they'll push this. In 2019, Anchor launched Squeezy Butter, a squeeze bottle for easy application. Consumers bought it thinking they were getting convenient real butter. Independent analysis revealed it was 67% oil. The backlash was brutal. Social media erupted, consumer forums filled with fury. Food bloggers called it out. The product quietly disappeared within months. No recall, no apology, just silent removal. And hope everyone would forget. But the regular spreadable remains, and it's only marginally better. 50% butter is still half oil. And here's the Arla connection. Anchor in the UK is manufactured by Arla Foods, the same company behind the Bovaer trials. While Anchor's New Zealand imagery suggests pastoral purity, UK production goes through Arla's supply chain. That means the transparency issues apply. You don't know if your tub contains milk from farms that fed cows Bovaer or not. Arla ran trials on around 30 farms starting in late 2024, feeding dairy cows a methane-reducing additive called Free Nop. It's regulator-approved and supposedly doesn't pass into milk. but consumer trust collapsed. Reports of cattle health issues, boycotts, social media fury. The trial ended in 2025, but Arla is reviewing whether to expand it. Meanwhile, which batches came from trial farms? They won't tell you. You're buying blind. The rapeseed oil goes through hexane extraction, a petroleum-based solvent that strips oil from seeds at industrial scale. Traces can remain in finished oils. You're potentially consuming petroleum derivatives on your breakfast. High heat refining generates naturally occurring trans fats. Omega-6 fatty acids contribute to inflammatory responses throughout your body, and they're charging you premium prices for half butter, half industrial oil. Then there's the color deception. The ingredient list includes beta-carotene added for color, yet the packaging claims no artificial colorings. Technically true because beta-carotene is a natural compound, but it's still being added artificially to fake the appearance of grass-fed butter when the product contains no grass-fed dairy at all. Real grass-fed butter gets its golden color from beta-carotene in fresh grass, consumed by cows. Anchor is using the same compound to create visual deception while selling you rapeseed oil. The semantics are dishonest. Number 7. Sainsbury's taste the difference. Supermarket premium ranges are supposed to mean better ingredients and higher standards. Taste the difference. Tesco Finest, Waitrose Duchy, these tiers charge more with implied guarantees of quality. Sainsbury's Taste the Difference spreadable is 64% butter, with rapeseed oil, water, and salt making up the rest. That premium badge means better packaging, not better butter. The ingredient quality is identical to cheaper spreadables. The butterfat percentage is identical. The rapeseed oil is processed the same way. You're paying for perception, not actual quality. This is food marketing at its most cynical. Create a premium tier, use language that suggests excellence, charge 20% more, and deliver a product functionally identical to the standard version with different design. And here's the supply chain reality. Sainsbury's doesn't make this themselves. They contract production to large dairy processors who supply multiple supermarket chains. The same facility might produce Sainsbury's, Tesco, and Morrison's spreadables using nearly identical recipes. The only difference is which label gets applied at the end. When you choose Taste the Difference thinking you're supporting higher standards, you're participating in a branding exercise. The cows aren't better fed, the cream isn't higher quality, the processing isn't more careful. Same industrial system, premium aesthetics. The rapeseed oil goes through the same hexane extraction, petroleum-based solvents at scale. High heat refining generates the same trans fats. Omega-6 fatty acids create the same inflammatory responses. None of this changes because the label says Taste the Difference. There's also the Bovaer question. Sainsbury's sources dairy from multiple suppliers, some part of the Arla network where trials happened. Which farms? Which batches? Transparency is zero. Sainsbury's won't tell you. For a premium range charging extra based on implied trustworthiness, that lack of transparency is unacceptable. Number 6. Yeo Valley Organic. Their spreadable version is some of the worst stuff out there. A shame to call it organic for uninformed consumers who don't look past the label. 50% organic butter, 29% organic rapeseed oil, water and salt. Even when ingredients are organic, the fundamental problem remains. You're consuming industrial seed oil instead of pure dairy fat. Organic certification guarantees cows weren't fed pesticides or routine antibiotics. Pastures weren't sprayed with glyphosate. Welfare standards are higher. All of that matters and it's genuinely valuable. But it doesn't change the fact that rapeseed oil, even organic, is still high in omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation when consumed in excess. Modern diets already overwhelm your body with omega-6 from processed foods, fried foods, restaurant cooking oils. The ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in typical Western diets is catastrophically imbalanced. Adding more through your butter accelerates inflammatory responses, gut lining damage, metabolic dysfunction. The health marketing around organic can obscure this. People see organic and assume it's automatically healthier in every dimension. But organic vegetable oil is still industrially extracted, still refined at high heat, still predominantly omega-6 fats. The absence of pesticides doesn't transform it into something your body handles well in large quantities. And the pricing issue, Yeo Valley Organic Spreadable costs significantly more than standard spreadables. You're paying for organic certification, which is valuable, but you're also paying for a product that's only half butter. If you're investing in organic dairy, why not invest in organic block butter that's 100% dairy fat instead of 50%? The Bovaer question doesn't apply here, which is positive. Organic standards explicitly prohibit Bovaer. The additive isn't compatible with organic certification rules. So if you're buying Yeo Valley organic anything, you're guaranteed Bovaer free. That's genuine reassurance when trust around feed additives has collapsed. But it doesn't solve the core issue. This is still an oil blend when it doesn't need to be. Number 5. Country Life. Country Life has one of the most aggressively patriotic marketing campaigns in British food. Union Jack imagery, rolling green fields, happy cows, heritage branding that screams British tradition. The emotional manipulation is masterful. You'll never put a better bit of butter on your knife, the old jingle promised. Except Country Life Spreadable isn't butter. It's roughly 50% butter, 25% rapeseed oil, and the rest water. Half of what you're paying for didn't come from a cow. And those British farms in the advertising, the profits don't stay with them. Country Life is owned by Saputo Incorporated, a multi-billion-pound Canadian dairy giant. They bought the brand in 2017 when they acquired Dairy Crest. The Union Jack on the packaging might tug at your heartstrings, but the money flows to Toronto. This is corporate consolidation masked as heritage. Saputo now controls Clover, Utterly Butterly, Vitalite, Willow, and Cathedral City Cheese. When you see Country Life next to these brands, you're looking at one corporation's product line, not market competition. The formula is cynical. Acquire beloved national brands, maintain nostalgic branding, quietly reformulate to maximize profit margins, and count on consumer loyalty to carry sales even as quality declines. Country Life has had quality control failures before. In 2008, the spreadable version was pulled from shelves after pieces of plastic were found in tubs. Contamination from broken machinery, tiny blue fragments that could have ended up in someone's mouth. The recall was handled quietly, no major headlines, just products disappearing. Most consumers never knew. That's the advantage of controlling distribution and branding. No external accountability, no competitor eager to publicize failures, just internal damage control. The rapeseed oil goes through petroleum solvent extraction, hexane processed, heat refined, creating trace trans fats and oxidized compounds your body struggles to process. The omega-6 load contributes to systemic inflammation. You're charged premium prices for this, whilst the packaging sells countryside nostalgia and British heritage. The Bovaer situation is one area with some transparency. Country Life has been confirmed as Bovaer-free. Unlike Arla brands, they're not part of methane reduction trials. That's genuinely positive, but it doesn't change the fundamental deception. You're buying butter diluted with industrial seed oil, whilst the marketing sells you heritage that no longer exists in the formula. Number 4. Kerrygold. This one genuinely hurts because Kerrygold block butter is exceptional. Irish grass-fed cows, rich golden color, proper butter with nothing but cream and salt. Then they made a spreadable version and ruined everything. Kerrygold Spreadable is only 50% butter. The other half is 20% rapeseed oil, water, and added beta-carotene coloring. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. You're buying based on Kerrygold's grass-fed reputation whilst consuming a product that's partially industrial seed oil. The grass-fed dairy that makes their block butter exceptional gets diluted with rapeseed oil extracted using petroleum solvents. Here's the scandal that shattered trust even further. In 2023, independent testing found that Kerrygold's foil wrappers contained PFAS chemicals, forever chemicals. These compounds don't break down in the environment or in your body. They accumulate over time and have been linked to hormonal disruption and serious health concerns. The contamination was severe enough that some American states temporarily banned sales until new packaging was introduced. A lawsuit alleged the butter was adulterated, and regulators agreed it was plausible consumers were misled. Think about that. A brand marketed as pure Irish butter was literally wrapped in toxic chemicals, and most British consumers never heard about it because the scandal played out primarily in American courts. The company scrambled to redesign wrappers, issued vague statements about commitment to quality, and moved on. But the damage to trust was permanent for anyone paying attention. Now here's the critical distinction. The block version, traditional Kerrygold in gold foil, is still real butter, pasteurized cream from Irish grass-fed cows, and salt. That's it. The spreadable version is the betrayal. And there's good news on one front. Kerrygold has confirmed they're not using Bovaer in their Irish supply chain. They operate independently from the Arla network where trials happened. Their Irish farms aren't part of that system. But the spreadable formula still undermines everything the brand stands for. They already make perfect butter. The block contains exactly what butter should contain. But they couldn't resist creating a spreadable variant, sacrificing quality for convenience and profit. The rapeseed oil disrupts your cell membranes. Every cell in your body has a protective fatty layer. When you consume industrially processed oils, these damaged fats integrate into your cellular structure. Your cells become less stable, more permeable, more vulnerable to oxidative stress. The vegetable oils interfere with hormone production. Your body creates hormones from dietary fats. Feed it processed rapeseed oil instead of pure dairy fat, and you're providing inferior building blocks for testosterone, estrogen, and thyroid hormones. Metabolic function declines, and they're charging premium prices. Kerrygold spreadable costs nearly the same as their block butter, sometimes more. You're paying grass-fed prices for a product that's half industrial oil. Number 3. Asda Extra Special. Supermarket own brand premium lines follow the same playbook. Create a tier that sounds superior, charge more, deliver standard quality with better packaging. Asda Extra Special Spreadable is roughly 68% real butter, with the rest filled with rapeseed oil and water. The Extra Special branding promises quality and careful craftsmanship. What you actually get is diluted butter mixed with cheap vegetable oil, slashing production costs whilst maintaining the illusion of dairy luxury. This isn't butter. It's a butter-flavored compromise in fancy packaging. Here's what they don't tell you. Rapeseed oil gets blasted with chemical solvents and extreme heat. Hexane extraction at industrial scale. The result is oxidized fats that trigger inflammation throughout your body. Your arteries, your joints, your digestive system, all under attack from fats your body can't process properly. The omega-6 fatty acids in rapeseed oil wreck your body's delicate balance. Modern diets already drown you in omega-6. Adding more through this so-called butter accelerates inflammatory responses. Cardiovascular concerns, metabolic dysfunction, both linked directly to this imbalance. What makes Asda particularly troubling is the marketing deception. Extra Special implies superior quality, yet you're paying for butter whilst receiving a hybrid product engineered for spreadability and profit margins. Traditional butter contains cream and salt. Simple, pure. This tub contains cream, rapeseed oil, water, and salt. Industrial intervention, transforming straightforward dairy into manufactured convenience. The high-heat processing generates trans fats, not the artificial trans fats banned across Europe, but naturally occurring trans fats created when unsaturated oils face extreme temperatures. Your cholesterol levels still suffer. Your cardiovascular health still declines. For something marketed as special, there's nothing extraordinary about chemically processed vegetable oil diluting real butter, and you're paying premium prices for standard industrial blending. Number 2. Tesco Butter Pack. The name itself is deceptive. Butter Pack suggests a pack of butter. The reality is another butter oil blend engineered for cold spreadability. Tesco Butter Pack Spreadable is roughly 64% butter, with rapeseed oil and water making up the remainder. The packaging uses warm dairy imagery, heritage fonts, and positioning language that implies traditional quality. But this is modern food processing designed to maximize margin. The rapeseed oil goes through the same hexane extraction we've discussed repeatedly. Petroleum-based solvents stripping oil from seeds, traces potentially remaining in finished products. You're spreading petroleum derivatives on your toast whilst thinking you're getting dairy. The high heat refining that follows generates naturally occurring trans fats. The omega-6 inflammatory load is identical to every other spreadable. Your body's omega-6 to omega-3 ratio gets pushed further out of balance with every spread. Chronic inflammation in your gut lining follows. Cell membranes stiffen. Fat burning slows down. And here's the Bovaer concern. Tesco sources dairy from multiple suppliers. Some are part of the Arla network, which means some Tesco own-brand products potentially contain milk from farms where Bovaer trials happened. The transparency is zero. Tesco won't tell you which batches, which farms, which production runs. You're buying blind, hoping your tub isn't from trial farms. For a retailer that positions itself as trustworthy and customer-focused, that lack of disclosure is unacceptable. The emulsifiers holding this oil butter mixture together attack your gut microbiome. These synthetic compounds disrupt bacterial balance in your digestive system. Studies link emulsifier consumption to inflammatory bowel conditions and weakened intestinal barriers. Your gut lining becomes permeable. Particles that should stay in your digestive tract leak into your bloodstream. Immune responses trigger. Chronic inflammation manifests throughout your body. Butter Pack sells you nostalgia for traditional butter whilst delivering an industrial blend optimized for shelf life and profit, not for your health. Number 1. Lurpak. This is the most popular premium butter brand in the UK. Lurpak has become almost synonymous with quality, Danish heritage, distinctive silver foil, premium pricing, all creating an aura of excellence. Which makes what they've done unforgivable. Lurpak spreadable was once over 85% real butter. Today it's just 64%. Some variants reportedly as low as 52% milk fats with 23% rapeseed oil. They've been quietly diluting their formula for years whilst maintaining premium prices and luxury branding. Let that sink in. Over the last decade, Lurpak has steadily replaced real butter with cheap rapeseed oil. Incrementally, gradually, hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people didn't. The pack looks the same, branding unchanged, price still premium, but you're getting significantly less actual butter than you were 10 years ago. This is worse than shrinkflation, not making the pack smaller, but making the contents cheaper whilst charging the same. During the 2002 cost of living crisis, Lurpak hit £6 per pack in some supermarkets. So expensive stores fitted security tags to prevent theft. Butter locked up like jewelry, national news covered it, people joked about Lurpak being a luxury good. And all the while, the product you were paying £6 for was already cut with 36% rapeseed oil and water. You weren't even getting pure butter for that absurd price. Then there's the Bovaer controversy, and this is genuinely concerning. Lurpak is made by Arla Foods, the UK's largest dairy cooperative. In late 2004, Arla launched trials feeding Bovaer to dairy cows on around 30 farms. Bovaer is a methane-reducing feed additive, also called 3-NOP. It's approved by regulators, including the UK Food Standards Agency. Official sources say it doesn't pass into milk, but consumer trust collapsed anyway. Reports of cattle health issues spread online, boycotts formed. Social media erupted with anger. The trial ended in 2025, but Arla is reviewing whether to expand it. Meanwhile, transparency is zero. Which specific farms used Bovaer? Which production batches contain milk from those cows? Arla won't say. You're buying blind. And here's the connection that makes this murkier. Bovaer development is partially funded by Breakthrough Energy Ventures, backed by Bill Gates among other tech investors focused on alternative proteins and methane reduction. Whether you see this as climate innovation or corporate interference in your food supply is up to you, but the lack of transparency is unacceptable. When you're paying premium prices for premium butter, you deserve to know exactly what went into it. The rapeseed oil in Lurpak goes through hexane extraction, petroleum-based solvents at industrial scale, traces potentially remaining in finished oils. High-heat refining generates naturally occurring trans fats. Omega-6 fatty acids contribute to inflammatory responses throughout your body. Gut inflammation, cardiovascular stress, metabolic dysfunction. And they've added vitamin D to the spreadable formula. Why does butter need vitamin fortification? Because the oil dilution and processing stripped away natural nutrients found in pure cream. They're adding back vitamins to compensate for what industrial manipulation removed. It's an admission the product has been degraded. Real butter doesn't need fortification, it's naturally rich in fat-soluble vitamins from grass-fed cows. When manufacturers start adding vitamins back, they're telling you the base ingredients lack nutritional value. People are noticing. Online forums filled with complaints. Lurpak tastes different now. The texture is weird, kind of oily, it doesn't melt the same. Thousands of comments across multiple platforms, no official response from Arla or Lurpak. Just quiet formula adjustments, new batch codes, fresh marketing campaigns featuring Danish countryside imagery that has nothing to do with what's actually in the tub, and they're shrinking pack sizes too. Many Lurpak products dropped from 250 grams to 200 grams, 20% less butter for the same or higher price. Shrinkflation on top of formula dilution, on top of premium pricing, on top of Bovaer uncertainty. Systematic erosion of value whilst maintaining the appearance of luxury. Lurpak traded reputation for spreadability and profit margins. They had decades of goodwill built on genuine quality. They've spent the last 10 years quietly dismantling that quality whilst hoping brand loyalty would carry them through. So how do you find the good stuff? It's simpler than the food industry wants you to believe. Real butter comes in blocks. If it's spread straight from the fridge, something has been added. Look for ingredient lists with 2 items maximum: cream and salt, or just cream for unsalted. Anything longer means additives, oils, or processing agents. Avoid anything with the word spreadable in the name. That's code for oil blended. Check for organic certification if possible. It guarantees no pesticides, no routine antibiotics, and crucially, no Bovaer, since the additive is incompatible with organic standards. And if you want spreadability without engineering, use a butter dish. Real butter spreads perfectly at room temperature. Leave it out for 10 minutes. The entire spreadable category is a manufactured problem to sell you oil blends at butter prices. Now let's talk about the brands that actually get it right. First, Trewithen salted Cornish butter. This is proper Cornish butter, made the way it should be. The ingredient list shows butter at 98.2% from cow's milk and salt at 1.8%. That's it. Trewithen is based in Cornwall and sources cream exclusively from farms within 25 miles of the dairy. They know every farmer personally. The cows graze on Cornish pastures for a minimum of 120 days per year, many achieving significantly more. This is independently audited as part of their true farming commitment, an extension of red tractor standards with higher welfare requirements. The butter is churned from Cornish cream, giving it that luxuriously smooth texture and distinctive buttercup yellow color. Rich flavor from milk produced by cows eating what cows are meant to eat. Grass from lush West Country pastures, the golden hue comes naturally from beta-carotene in fresh grass, not from added coloring. Trewithen has won great taste awards for their butter. It's widely available at Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrison's, Ocado, and independent shops. Pricing typically runs around £2.50 to £3 for 250 grams. This is real British butter, supporting Cornish farmers and maintaining traditional standards whilst remaining accessible in major supermarkets. No Bovaer concerns, as they're outside the Arla network, sourcing from dedicated local farms with transparent supply chains. Second, all things butter organic British unsalted. This is artisan British butter that proves traditional methods still produce exceptional results. Created by renowned UK chef Thomas Straker, All Things Butter is made on Brew Valley Farm in Somerset, where the same family has been churning butter since the 1500s. The ingredient list for the unsalted version shows organic butter from milk with a minimum 81% fat content. That's it. One ingredient. The organic certification is from the Soil Association, code GB-ORG05, Britain's highest organic standard. It exceeds standard EU organic rules with stricter antibiotic restrictions, better animal welfare requirements, and tighter contamination thresholds. The cows are grass-fed on Somerset's lush moors for 6 months of the year, with locally grown maize, grass silage, and whole crop wheat supplementing their diet in colder months. They're treated with exceptional care, even having their own welfare team. Here's what makes All Things Butter special. It's double churned. Cream is churned once to separate butter from buttermilk, then churned again to expel even more liquid. The result is higher fat content, lower water content, and exceptional creaminess. It's also hand-salted in small batches, for the salted version using traditional methods passed down through generations. The butter has a shorter shelf life than supermarket brands, typically 21 days, because it contains no preservatives. That's a quality indicator, not a flaw. Real butter doesn't need chemicals to extend shelf life artificially. It's available at Ocado and specialist retailers. Pricing runs around £4 to £5 for 250 grams, reflecting genuine artisan production. Organic certification guarantees Bovaer-free status. No experimental additives, no corporate ownership games, just family farming and traditional churning producing butter the way it was made for centuries. Third, Graham's Scottish salted butter, family dairy farm, explicitly Bovaer-free, proudly Scottish. When Arla's Bovaer trials collapsed consumer trust in major dairy brands, Graham stepped forward with transparency. No experimental additives, no corporate ownership, just cream from Scottish grass-fed cows and salt. Graham's has been supplying Scottish dairy for generations. They're not part of a multinational conglomerate. Profits stay in Scotland, supporting local farming communities. The ingredients are exactly what butter should be: pasteurized cream and salt. The butter has a slightly softer texture than some brands, making it easier to work with straight from the fridge without needing oil blending. It's available at major supermarkets across the UK, particularly strong distribution in Scotland, but increasingly available nationwide. Pricing is competitive with other quality butters, usually between £2.50 and £3 for 250 grams. For anyone specifically concerned about Bovaer and wanting explicit confirmation their butter is free from feed additives, Graham's offers that guarantee. They've publicly confirmed their Bovaer-free status and build consumer trust by being upfront about what is and isn't in their supply chain. This is transparency the major brands refuse to provide. Fourth, President French slightly salted block butter. This is traditional Normandy butter made to French standards. Around 81% butter fat, just butter and salt, rich and creamy with characteristic French dairy depth. French butter culture never embraced the spreadable revolution the way Britain did. They stuck with blocks because that's what butter is supposed to be. The higher fat content, typically 82 to 84% compared to the UK minimum of 80%, means less water and more concentrated flavour. Better for pastries, richer in sauces, more satisfying on bread. It's widely available at Waitrose, Ocado and increasingly at other major supermarkets. Pricing runs around £3.50 for 250 grams, which is premium but reflects genuine French dairy standards. It's made in France, not manufactured under license in the UK, so it's outside the Arla supply network entirely. No Bovaer concerns, no British corporate consolidation issues, just French butter made to French standards. When you want to know your butter was made without the compromises happening in UK production, French imports offer that assurance. Fifth, the Estate Dairy Salted Cultured Butter. This is artisan British butter showing what traditional methods produce. The ingredient list is cream, sea salt and lactic cultures. Cultured butter means cream is fermented with live bacteria before churning, developing tangy, complex flavour and typically higher fat content. This is closer to what butter tasted like before industrialization, when cream naturally cultured as it sat before churning. The Estate Dairy is a small producer focused on quality over scale. They're not trying to supply every supermarket in Britain. They're making limited batches using traditional techniques. The butter is hand-washed to remove buttermilk, which prevents souring and creates purer, sweeter flavour. You'll find this at specialist retailers, farm shops and some independent grocers. It's more expensive, typically around £5 for 200 grams, but you're paying for genuine craftsmanship, no industrial shortcuts, no corporate ownership, just a small dairy making butter the way it was made for centuries. It's explicitly Bovaer-free as a small independent producer outside major dairy networks. Sixth, Dromona M&S Softer Butter. This is Northern Irish butter sold through Marks & Spencer nationwide, made by Dromona. Here's what makes it special. It's naturally softer without added oils. Pure butter and salt, grass-fed on lush Northern Irish pastures, but with texture that's easier to spread straight from the fridge. The secret is in cream processing and churning method, not in adding rapeseed oil. This proves you can achieve improved spreadability without engineering oil blends. The ingredient list shows exactly what you want. Butter, made from milk and salt. That's it. Available at M&S stores across the UK, usually around £3 for 250 grams. It's British butter, supports Northern Irish farming, and offers that softer texture people want without the compromises every other spreadable makes. For anyone who genuinely struggles with hard block butter straight from the fridge, this is your answer. Not Lurpak, spreadable cut with rapeseed oil. Dromona, made properly naturally soft, pure butter. Seventh, Tesco Finest West Country Butter and Sea Salt. This proves even supermarket-owned brands can deliver real butter when they choose integrity over profit maximization. The ingredient list is butter, salt and sea salt. That's genuinely it. No oils, no emulsifiers, no added colours, just cream from West Country farms churned into butter. It's accessible, available at every Tesco in Britain, priced reasonably at around £2.25 for 250 grams. The finest range usually means premium pricing. But for butter, it's delivering premium ingredients, not just premium packaging. You can verify Bovaer-free status by contacting the supplier, though Tesco sources from multiple dairies so batches may vary. It's not organic, it's not grass-fed certified, but it is honest butter. For anyone on a budget who still wants real butter without oils or additives, this is a solid choice that won't break the bank. It proves you don't need specialty shops or artisan producers to find real butter. You just need to know which supermarket products haven't been compromised. The butter aisle has been quietly transformed over the last 2 decades. What used to be simple, cream churned until it became butter, has been replaced with industrial oil blends, corporate consolidation, and marketing language designed to obscure reality. But real butter still exists. You just have to know what to look for and be willing to spend slightly more for actual quality instead of paying premium prices for diluted products. The companies cutting corners rely on consumer inertia. They reformulate gradually, hoping you won't notice. They maintain heritage branding whilst hollowing out recipes. They use words like spreadable and softer and blended to hide what they're actually doing, replacing expensive dairy fat with cheap seed oils whilst charging you the same or more. The only way this changes is if enough people refuse to accept it. Check your ingredients, buy block butter, use a butter dish, and when you find a brand still doing it right, support them. That's how you vote with your wallet. If this video changed what you're buying tomorrow, hit that hype button one more time. It matters. It tells these corporations we're paying attention. Drop a comment telling me what food we should investigate next. And subscribe, because I'm doing this every week. A new product, a new investigation, a new set of brands that need exposing. Until next time, read your labels, question your brands, and protect your plate.